Right. Aloha, everybody. Happy New Year. And I can say that, Happy New Year. We're having a little tough run here, but it's still a good year. We're excited about that. Um, Appreciate the short notice town hall. I figured it'd just be good. I didn't want to wait till Monday to kind of give you an update on, I guess, really our census. I don't have a lot of other stuff to cover. So this is like a one focus kind of briefing or town hall. As always, put in your questions on the side, we'll answer them, and also I've been asking around and kind of getting a feel for what people are asking, and hopefully we'll answer them. And also, I know Victoria is like, obviously working hard, carrying these patients. You might not be seeing this live, but by 3:30 today, we should have this up on our YouTube channel. You can watch on your phone and whatnot, if you want to take a look at it. So that's kind of the plan here. So let's just talk a bit about the solution, the situation. Um, the Land, can you guys all hear me pretty good? I see Keely, I think I see you. Can I get a thumbs up? All right. Are we optimal? Better. Better. All right. Thank you. We have our great sound guy, Nate, here. He's cleaning this up because I hate to do a monologue here for 10 minutes and people go, you gotta do that again. All right. So our situation really has been, it really has been flu. I just got some numbers here. I've been tracking them actually from Chad. And we've had one of the most significant flu seasons that we've seen since 2018, at least in how it impacts the hospital here. So in the past 6 weeks, we've had 500 or almost 500 ED visits for flu, and we've had 62 admissions where flu has been the primary reason, which is a higher admission rate than we've seen before. It's just a lot concentrated really in a short period. And I think you guys are seeing that in your personal lives with your family and others. It's just going around. And I think it really is impacting our elderly folks. We're also seeing a uptick in RSV, and COVID still kind of hangs around as a background, but this one isn't driven by COVID. This is almost all flu, right? And then I think you also all are aware that our census has just been rocking crazy here for the last 16 or so days. Just looking right after Christmas, it went to like levels beyond full. We've been somewhere between 20 and 40 patients over full with multiple overflows for 16 days in a row. I think it says a lot about the organization, but really the first week and a half, we just kind of like did our thing. We've been full before, we opened our overflows, we did our Pono, whatnot. Everybody like to handle it, but I understand everybody's starting to get a little nervous. We're 16 days in. It's like, when's this going to end, right? And that's a fair question. What are we going to do about it? I thought it would be good to just put those questions out there and kind of share with you some of what we do. I think information sharing always at least makes people feel a little bit better that they know what's going on and that they're part of the solution and we're on it and maybe what might happen. So that's kind of the intent of doing our bit of our call today. And I think it's reasonable. People are getting a little antsy. We've been stretched. It's like everybody always is getting calls. You want to work more. People are getting asked to work pre and post and so forth. And, that's all good for a few days, but when it goes on and on, certainly that's a challenge. So probably the first question that asked is how long is this going to last? I mean, I've been wrong before, but this one seems to be a little more focus driven and often, well, we can identify a single driver. And the driver here really does seem to be flu. I shared those numbers with you. Flu goes through a relatively predictable cycle. It's pretty limiting. It takes a while sometimes, but in general, because it's infectious, everybody can get it. It's susceptible, gets it, and then it burns itself out, and we go through the cycle. I'm hopeful that that's coming here in the next few days, but sometimes nature runs its own course. We aren't seeing any other factors that That's not a complicated thing. So I do think that we hopefully are at our peak or maybe even coming down, but it will end. Okay, but in this case, I think I could legitimately lay this at the feet of influenza. The other question we get is like managing this. Are we on top of it? It's a lot of the steps and making this as smooth as possible and a tough situation. And of course, it's biased, but I believe we are absolutely all on it. But if you guys are, you're doing your work and whatnot, it's not something, a process that you'd be so familiar with. So I thought I'd ask Arthur, who's in the middle of it, to just share with you how we manage this emergency, because even though it's been going on day after day, we do treat it like an emergency. And so I thought it would be good for you to hear from the man himself. So Arthur, you're up.
Hi, Dan. So we are following what's called a hospital incident command system. It's right out of FEMA, and it was developed during Katrina. And that's pretty much the setup we follow. And most of our high executives and nursing leaders been trained in this incident command. Prior to December 17th, which started at around Thanksgiving time, we were just running high census, high census, high census. And we're just doing patient flow management every day, twice a day, 24/7. And that's been handled pretty much by the house supervisors and the nursing director, primarily vet, with the high census, high patient flow and moving forward. But starting roughly December 16th, 17th, and that's when we kind of hit our peak. And we had to open up an overflow area, which is our ultrasound overflow. And we had patients everywhere. And at that time, once we started a hospital incident command, we met every morning, and we've been doing it every morning since at 8:30 via Zoom, and getting everybody's input and working through the whole processes, looking at what happened in the past 24 hours and looking forward, looking ahead the next 48 hours and how we can anticipate the next steps, utilize all the resources we have. So that's pretty much how we run our incident command, and we welcome everyone's input and feedback at any time. How we can do better, please let us know.
So a general, I guess, theme that we always try to do is be 1 or 2 steps ahead, right? Because I've seen this where, you have 3, 4 overflows full, and then we get what we call the big dump out. And then it's like, oh, well, dang, in 24 hours, we closed them all. We have not seen that, obviously. But what we always try to do is be incremental, because staffing is scarce. We want to make sure we're stretching people only just enough to keep up, but always have a plan as to what's coming ahead. And that's how you see us. Sometimes we have 2 open or 3 or 4 or 5, but we're always planning for what the next one is. And I think the team unfortunately, we've got a lot of practice at doing this, and we know what our tools are. And we have, honestly, you guys are amazing as to how you turn this on, and you turn this off, and you do, and you move, and it just happens. So that's a big kudo to the organization. But to Arthur's point, this has been very consuming, and we spend a lot of time and effort staying on top of it. So I just want to reassure you that, you guys aren't just in this all by yourselves. One question I get also, why don't we just transfer? Kind of logical. If you come from anywhere here, that's a reasonable thing. Hey, we're crazy full. We can't put patients in proper places. Why don't you send them to hospitals, right? So just today, Kona is full. Flu is all over the island. North Hawaii, multiple days we've called and asked, and they're full. Sometimes they have ED hold. They certainly don't have consistently inpatient beds where they can take our patients. And honestly, if they do, it's 1 or 2, and it's not really going to help us. We are on an island, and we are all that there is. So you go, why are we having to deal with this? It's because this is what we need to do for our community. There's nowhere else to go. And we can't tell someone who go, man, can't you go home with that? no, you can't. If you need the care, we're going to figure out where to do it. And it's not a thing that we convert. We can't fly all our routine patients to Oahu, and there's not room on Oahu, nor honestly are there hospitals that will accept our flu cases. So we really have to figure out how to do it ourselves. And this is probably the only place I've ever worked where that's been the situation, but that is, I guess, both our responsibility and in some ways, our honor to be able to do that for our community. But at times like this, it's pretty tough. Okay. I did want, I've got other folks, well, what do you got? What's the near-term plan? What if this goes on for another week? What are you guys going to do? So I'm going to turn that over to Yvette. She manages all the day-to-day of running this. And she also is in charge of our house supervisors, which you guys work with very closely to manage the census. So, Yvette?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, so our house supervisors, they have a pool of flex nurses and aides, 16 each, that they operate with and staff. And we normally can staff our regular overflows and augment our floors with that staff. However, since we have been in this high census delta level with incident commands open, we've been able to offer some pay incentives, and we did need the assistance of more staff to fill in 4 overflow areas as of this time. On any given day, we have approximately 27 beds outside of our normal patient care areas. Today, we are currently looking at opening the gym with about 16 beds. So that is happening right now as we speak. Email was also sent out at about 11 o'clock for Pono pay again for the weekend, a little bit bump in that pay just to get us through the weekend. And we intend to stay in this space for about a week. Something that was asked also was, what are like our vents, our BiPAPs, our house supervisors monitor that very closely. So today we have 16 vents on standby and 6 in use. We have 15 BiPAP in use and 5 on standby. We have a total of 47 telemetry units that we have on hand. 45 are in use and we have 2 available. So we have to be very strategic about how we place our patients and in what areas so that we can provide a safe level of care that they need in these outside of the box patient care areas.
So a question related to that, Yvette, and thank you for that, is this in addition to the overflow areas we have now, or are we trying to consolidate?
We are trying to consolidate, being that our staffing is, we're stretched thin in overflow areas and on the unit. So we want to consolidate our staff in that gym area. If we can get it up to 16, between 12 and 16 patients down there, we can consolidate that pool and it'll be much better for our patients and the staff.
Because, we're using a lot of 4-bed, 3-bed, 5-bed areas, and that's not the most efficient use of our very limited staffing. And it's not to say we're going to close all the other overflows. What it does is give us more beds and a chance to be much more efficient in how we staff the beds and the overflow patients with our limited resources. So we're a little reluctant to go to that. We have to obviously close the gym. And we're hoping that we would get that dump and that flu would taper off. But I think we're at a point where this is a good next move. This gives us a lot of space to work with. I don't think we're going to run out of space. This space is a good short-term solution, and it provides plenty. I think our limiting factor, of course, is staffing. So I'm still optimistic that we're hopefully near the peak and we'll start tapering off again. So I know we have a few more questions up there and I will answer them. I want to just run through a couple others that I had gotten and then we'll finish through the board here. Let's see, one of those is, and this was, heartfelt, is like, how can I give good care to my patients in overflow areas, right? They don't have their own room. Sometimes they have to walk to the bathroom. They're crowded. You have a curtain in between. I want to do better care than this. And so I think that's a legitimate question. The answer I would, I guess say to that individual is the first and foremost is we need to keep you safe to make sure that we don't, the environment we're in is safe, and that we also are fixing why you got admitted in the first place. The thing after that is we need to keep you as comfortable as possible. And I think the first two, we are absolutely making sure we do, that we fix your admission, that we treat you, that we make sure that you're not going to get hurt being in those overflows. We struggle on the comfort side. I don't think there's any way around that. If I'm in one of those beds, of course I would want to be in my own room or have all those, what you get if you're in a proper room. But honestly, I need the care, and we're the only folks that can provide it right now. So you do your best, and I would encourage you to feel good about it. And in rounding with our patients, I think they understand that. We do have a long-term solution, so we're not having to make these sacrifices indefinitely, but it's a very legitimate question. And I appreciate that people feel bad about that. You always can show your care, your compassion, your malam to your patients as you care for them. That goes a whole long way, and we'll try our best to, get some proper beds here. I think there is a plan for that. And then as a segue to it, what is our long-term solution? I was just making the joke. I'm so glad that we have construction coming out of the ground next to this hospital while this is going on, because that is our solution. It's 54 more beds for this hospital. I think that we won't be in this situation indefinitely and hopefully for a number of years to come. So we just need to get through one more flu season, because we're supposed to open here at the end of 26. And I'm confident that we'll do that, and we'll make the best of a tough situation. So let's look at what the questions are on the right here. I kind of figured this question would come up: is it possible to get a working differential for everybody that's working their hinds off here to care for patients? And in other words, Pono for everybody. And the short answer is I can't afford that. That's just not, we just can't do that. I need you guys to certainly come to work if you're well and healthy and work hard. And if you work above that, there is a way to pay you more. And sometimes when we're really short, to pay you really, really well. But no, even though I know every one of you are busting it, there isn't a way to do that. Let's see, what other ones did I not cover? I need to probably shorten this table. Could it be possible for ATO to be extended beyond March due to the high census and ATO? Yes, we can do that. It's so nice if somebody asks something. I'll work with Joni and others and see if maybe we can get that to go through April or May. Why don't we shoot for the end of May? Because I know they like to get that wrapped up before end of fiscal year. So yes, we can give you guys a little more time there. Did I miss anything else, Nate, there? Or give me something on the point throughout the day. We were confused on the point, heard conflicting things throughout the day on that. Oh, this was about consolidating the units, so I think we clarified that. I think those are the main questions here. I don't see any others. But I did want to take a few minutes here and make sure that that we do a call out for people. If I really mentioned everybody who's done something worth mentioning and acknowledging, then it would be the length. It would be a very long Zoom. But in no particular order, I just want to really express gratitude to our hospice. I don't know if people understand that there really isn't a way to get any more hospice help. So when the census goes up like this, their panel stretches and stretches and stretches. Okay, you don't generally get locums hospice to fly in at a moment's notice. It's just like being on the island here, right? It's almost impossible. So they really are working hard, and I appreciate them stepping up and doing their best to just keep patients cared for and move through. Our ED physicians are masters at working in hallway beds and a couple of trauma rooms and still seeing 150, 180 patients a day. That's amazing. So thank you. Our nurses and aides in all the different units. There's so many of you, which is a good thing, but I don't mean that at all to diminish each one of yours hard work. I know some of you have had your assignments stretched, that you're caring for more patients than you normally do. Some of you in isolated areas by yourself, but out in your comfort or your team they have around you. So thank you. To our aides, who, especially those of you who have picked up extra, been extremely important. So we definitely appreciate that. All you guys who do pre and post, those extra 4 hours or early fours, they make huge difference in our transitions and just kind of keeping it sane. So again, thank you. TCU guys down there, we've had some, I know you guys, a lot of you are new nurses and you are, I think in some ways getting put to the test and doing a great job. So we really appreciate that. And you're doing it without complaining. I really appreciate that as well. A couple of individuals, let's see, Aaron, who has managed our short stay areas. Amazingly, I don't know how you guys can constantly run 13 in there and still get all our OR patients and everyone through. You've done that routinely for months. So I just wanted to mention you by name. And then, of course, our house supervisors. You guys don't see all that behind the scenes stuff, but pretty dang impressive. So all of you, thank you. I think we will get over this hump and we'll keep doing great things. So remember, if you need to, if you want to watch this and so forth, just tell your friends though you're watching that they can pull it off to watch it on their phones. Aloha, and we'll keep you updated if anything new happens here next week.